Spiritual architecture, the unseen spirit, the deep unconscious of the mental plane, and the art of building. This is spiritual architecture. One definition, one meaning. The building of the unseen. The artistic nature of that. Peace. It's Travis Soderwell. It's Pure Sound Daily Business. I'm going to just unpack this new concept that I believe I coined in last week's podcast, and given the demonstration of what I've learned over the years and what real spiritual really is. And we'll start off from this plane of existence that we're on right now. The physical plane, the plane of manifest. Creation. The physical things that we can sense. We can see, taste, touch, smell, hear, feel. This is the physical world. The other world be the mental plane, the mental world, the world of ideas, the plane of ideas, of thought. Also call the mental plane the soul plane. So we use the word soul and the mind is synonymous, meaning the same thing. If I did want to separate them a little bit, I would say it'd be physical plane, then the mental, and these are different vibrational states. So we talk about molecules and atoms, the particles that make up the material world. We know the things that are more dense, more solid, are the things that are not vibrating very fast. The higher something vibrates, the looser it is attached, the looser in attachment to other particles it is. The less it is visible, the less it is sense. This is where we get into thought vibrations, if you will, the soul plane. And at a higher vibration, we talk about the spirit plane. This plane is beyond time. If there was a separator between the mental and the soul plane and the spirit plane, it would be time. The spirit plane is outside of the bounds of time. And this is where the spirits lie. In our school of thought, we say this is where the L's are, the Elohim. And then I personally, as my demonstration has always been for as long as I can really remember, as far as my concept of God, even when I was calling myself a Baptist, that's how I first came into any institutionalized religion. I had read a little bit and touched on it before, not majorly though, but just a little bit, had an interest. And a friend invited me to a Bible study. All I heard was it was free food. And he was my friend. So I'm like, yeah, I'll come hang out with you. Eat some food, eat some pizza. And I always enjoyed Bible study. I went to Bible study before I went to church. I know there's a certain type of people like that. Especially people who haven't, certain type of people that have grown up in institutionalized religion versus come in. So back to my point of how I got in there is that I always looked at God, Allah, a being beyond all. and more mysticism, Kabbalah, talk about nothingness. It's my line. I believe, because it's like, I hear so many other lines that I'm like, sometimes I forget. I'm like, did I get this from the Quran and Mecca? It was just, Allah neither creates nor is created. This being, if you will, is beyond our comprehension, is beyond our limited speech and language. And see, there's a principle embedded in this. And the principle, the idea, the thought, and this is to me what unites all when we say there are religions, and it comes back to this idea of there being a one God, a creator, a source. And it is beyond our understanding. It's beyond human comprehension, it's beyond human actions or motives or thoughts. And that this really being a key to, to me, this is like the essence of what any prophet, any messenger brought, is when they brought to the people is saying the one God. It was really the concept of there's something beyond our understanding. And this is how I attach. We have the material plane, what we consciously see, what we can sense with our senses. We have the mental plane, and we're still conscious. We're still aware of what we think. And then there's the unconscious, what we may have conveniently forgotten, whether it's our past, whether it's just even in the moment, things that are on the periphery, right? Our mind sees all these things but blocks it out so we can focus, so we can function, so we can see what is deemed priority in the moment, in the momentary experience. It's the unconscious mind. Then there's the deep unconscious. All right, I take the unconscious mind. That's when we're getting into soul. So we have the physical plane, conscious, the mental plane, still conscious, but in the mental sphere. The unconscious plane, this is the soul plane. And then the deep unconscious, this is where we get into spirit. And this is where only those throughout history that have been, talented and use those talents to tap into that deep unconscious sphere. This is where we have the idea, whether a real individual or a persona of a Jesus, etc. But any character we've made up, real or imagined, this is the idea. Someone who can tap into the deep unconscious and bring the truth from the source to us. Why is this important? Why is this important in a podcast talking about unlocking your genius, discovering purpose, building prosperity by using business principles, psychological type? What's the third one? Business principles, psychological type, story structure, and spiritual architecture. Now, of course, the very title of this podcast being spiritual architecture. So we'll get to that. We talk about business a lot. We talk about psychological type. It's really about accomplishment. It's about prosperity. It's about doing something in the physical world. Why do I emphasize that so much? Why is it so much on business? Doing something. Simply because I've been living on this planet for over 4 decades now. And that seems to be the weak point. Seems to be the weak point overall with people. Seems to be the weak point with people of my culture, heritage, my community. I'm talking about skin folk, talking about kin folk. A whole lot of people that don't look like me, that I know you with me. We believe the same things. We listen to similar music. We have similar ideas. And maybe we don't listen to the same music. Maybe all our ideas ain't the same, but we're unified in being peaceful, uplifting our family, making our nation better for ourselves and for those coming after us. It all comes back to our thoughts, to our belief, and the unifying thought of the one. This isn't getting into what you believe in God. This is what you believe about yourself. Because if you don't believe there is a higher self to you, well, then I have to believe you that you don't have a higher self to be. And this is a key in belief. This is a key in the idea of a higher level to reach, of bigger things to do, bigger things to accomplish, a bigger person to be. This is why I have the breakdown of the structural of the spiritual. This architecture. It matters to get that awareness of this is how we come in, this is how we go out. This is how our thoughts travel. And it's all right within us. And this is what we're tapping into. And we'll have a block to that higher part of ourselves. One of the ways I put it, higher self is definitely one of the ways I put it. Another way I put it is the portion you've been given of the Most High, of the Omnipotent. We all have our peace. And we all have our power and our area of expertise, our skill set, our interest, our talent. Our portion we've been given. A lot of times we don't even know because it's just the water we swimming in. That's where we talk about psychological type and profiling. When we're speaking to someone and I have a certain skill set, when I listen to people and they just, oh yeah, I just do that. And I'm like, man, that's amazing. You can meet other people's needs. That's amazing. You can follow procedures. That's amazing. You don't have to put your spin on it. Wow. You can tap into your authentic self. That's amazing. You make decisions by logic and cut out the emotions. That's an amazing skill. And we all have our piece. And that's just speaking general. That ain't getting into the real true you. Because once we get into your unique experience, who you are, what I just said was very general, but then we add that piece, the true piece of your essence. That's when it becomes you and your higher self and being the best in the world at something only you can do with your uniqueness. That's what spiritual architecture is. We'll continue to break this down. Hopefully I gave you enough of a layout of understanding from our conscious plane to our conscious minds to the unconscious. It's what we're talking about. This is real spiritual. This is real belief, real faith. And I'm not taking away from any institutionalized religion. I'm saying this is a process. This isn't dogma. This is just how it works. So I'm actually telling you, if you believe something, believe harder and understand the perfection, the love that we've been given here. And the higher self you can tap into to bring that love from within you and bring it to the world. And fill your heart up with internal profit and fill our bank accounts up with external profit. Travis Sotawell, it's Pure Sound Daily Business. Do you believe you have a higher self to achieve? Peace.